I had a dream message for us, and also I had another message for us, and also I have some advice for us. So here we go. So the dream was very simple. It was right when I was going to sleep, which is a great time to get messages, by the way, because you're in that kind of theta brainwave right before you go to sleep, the delta brainwave, sorry. And I saw a dam burst. You know, the wall that we've been talking about over and over and over again. Check my first pinned video, and there's a bunch of other ones that the Berlin Wall just keeps coming up over and over and over again. And what I saw was the wall had a flood behind it. So it didn't really look like a dam, you know, like in that arch sort of way. It was literally a wall that got destroyed by the pressure of too much water on the other side. So that seems to be very relatable to what we're feeling right now. We are being absolutely bombarded with things that are just pushing us and pushing us to that tipping point, right? We've had a few tipping points along the way. This week in particular is very similar to other times in history, astrologically speaking, where big movements have started. So, I know we're all feeling that energy. So, here's another thing that's really important that I'd like to bring in with my neurosomatic alchemy work. Remember, it makes sense to feel stressed. It makes sense to feel angry. And it makes sense to feel scared. But what's true is we can take some actions, which leads me to my next point. You can actually email the Supreme Court. So just look up the email for the Supreme Court, and let's all take time today to just send an email letting them know that we want them to enforce what they've said they're going to, right? The people need to speak up because that's this pushing. What can I get away with? What can I do? It's not just with the powers that be. We are the powers that be. This is the United States, remember? So we speak up and we do something, right? And that's a great action to take. And when you've done that action, go back to the rest of your day. Go back to things you feel grateful for and joyful about, okay? Stay centered and grounded and regulated. Okay. Then I was asking Spirit, I was like, what is up with this wall? You know, we keep hearing the Berlin Wall thing keeps coming up over and over again. Here's what I got. And remember I have to use code, okay? So the big cold place and those people, there's a stirring there too. We're so focused on our own place, but also there's people who have been living in that cold country for a long time who are also feeling the stirring. Also, it says, they know that it's the cold place. They know that they will have to take the ringleader over there, Utenpay, down. He's like a linchpin, right? Let's see. It says, and I also had and also Spirit told me that when I had the song Right Here, Right Now and the dream about the Berlin Wall, that it was actually a premonition of Corey saying it. So connecting that. And then others referring to it. Oh, because so the reason why Corey is saying that and everyone else is because it's the end of walls everywhere. It's the end of this idea of boundaries and borders, and although those will exist still culturally and other ways, we are becoming a global family. And this is the process of that happening, right? It's not just that when the Berlin Wall came down, it joined the East and the West, right? This is everywhere. It's the end of the separation of the global family. United against hate, yes, but united in love and compassion and human rights for all. So it's not what we're fighting against, it's what we're fighting for, right? This is about the bigger global issue of world unification by eradicating oligarchies, authoritarianism, loosening and removing the Oviet yoke and allowing people-focused momentum, no more ruling over the people in the same way. Now the wall is even bigger than the Berlin Wall. It's symbolic. It's everywhere, right? This idea of pitting us against each other and everything else, right? Building small walls, big walls. It's all about, separating us, right? But that illusion is falling away. We're realizing that we're not as separated from each other as we have been led to believe so that they could control us. Let's see. So yeah, the Spirit said, now the wall is even bigger and more symbolic, the battle between the rich and powerful with evil intentions versus the power of the people. This wall is energetic now. As it is crumbling, the world family will reignite and be the power on earth. Rejuvenate, not reinvite. Will rejuvenate and be the power on earth. Not a few, but all will have a voice. All will be home, united in the way we have longed for. And Spirit's saying this too, so they've been longing for it also. But could never name the hole in our hearts. We've longed for this feeling of unification and global family, but we didn't really have a name for it because we've been so distracted by the matrix and the hamster wheels that we've all been put on, right? This hole in our hearts, because as we awake to the systems, because we are awakening to the systems of control that divide us, right? And then the lyrics again came up from that song from Jesus Jones, Right Here, Right Now, watching the world wake up from history. So yes, we are in the midst. Something big is happening right now, and it's time for us to take some action. So let's take the action. But let's also remember that there is something so much bigger happening on a global scale that we will get through this, and we will end up in a place that we've only had this aching for in our hearts and did not even know what we were aching for. Now we're starting to see what that is. So connect to your community, find the others, keep building the new, create new systems of support for each other, and take action when it's inspired and obvious to take it, right? It's pretty obvious today. So grab that email, do that work, and realize that, yeah, this is all part of it, and you're not alone. You're not alone in feeling scared. You're not alone in feeling angry. That's the worst part, is when you feel like there's nothing I can do and there's nobody else who can do anything. Yeah, and no one's thinking about it. Nobody's doing anything, right? That's the narrative that they're trying to send out in the mainstream, right? Nothing's happening except for an occasional, march. That's not true. So find the others, continue on your creation, and do what you can action-wise that you feel inspired and called to do. Really. We got this. I promise.